documenting my process of creating this project. This is just more documentation, not a tutorial. I'm just recording this so I can record it and then put it on YouTube for later, whether people want to watch it or whether I want to do it. So basically my goal is to create a dice roller with Tkinter. And I'm trying to make this as object-oriented as possible, as more of a learning experience for myself versus just doing it. It's not like I'm tasked to do this, it's just a side project, I guess. And so I'm gonna start off with very simple, just making a dice roller class. Not quite the GUI part yet, but again, I want to make this as object-oriented as possible. So you can see here I'm using PyCharm for my given IDE. I like to use PyCharm a lot, that's what I learned with, and it's very reliable. Alright, so what I'm going to first do is import random as R. And as a dice roller, you need some sort of randomness. So we need the random class here. I'm going to be fancy here, put object. I don't exactly need an init class, however I'm going to do it just in case I need to have any information stored later. So I guess we'll just start off with our dice roller functions. We'll have, I guess let me preface this, is that I like playing Dungeons and Dragons a lot, and I like to make the process a little bit easier for myself because, or maybe, I don't know how to put it. It's just I like to make things in regard to what I like to do. And right now I want to make this application for D&D. I had made one in the past. However, it was very ugly. The code wasn't pretty, and I'd like to try to make it object-oriented, whereas the last one it wasn't. It was just like one file. Very, very simple. So let's see, we'll do D4. Randint because we just want a random integer between 1 and 4, and I believe this is an inclusive before 1 and 4. So I don't know why it does this. I'm still pretty new. I don't know why it's making it. It suggests PyCharm suggests these things. It bugs me. So what I'm going to do this. I'm going to do just some testing just to make sure here. Do print d dot. Actually, I'll just make it a little bit easier. I'll make it dot roll d4. And let's just put this in a for loop, just to make sure that we get the random number that we're looking for. Yep, so it's inclusive C1 and 4, which is good. So that confirms that the range is inclusive, not exclusive. Like, will this, for some reason, will it make it different if I, no, it will not. Sometimes capitalization is weird. Roll D6, so term r.randint 1.6. Pasting this to make it a little bit faster. It'll be D8. We'll go back and refactor this to make sure it's all correct later. We just want to get it done here today. 10. D12. Roll D20. 1, 6. 1, 8. 10, 12, and 120. Now, this makes me question as to whether I want to. So, here I'm going to make a new helper function here, because just a dice roller class is very, I would say, mediocre if you just have the dice roll, you don't have a modifier or anything, which I'm not sure it's the best to implement this here, but I think I'm going to gonna try to do it. Def underscore get. Just do underscore make it private helper. It's not anything that's gonna be called outside ever. Get modifier. Return. So this, let's do plus self dot underscore get modifier of mod. Nope. Oh. Yeah, let me modifier. Let me just throw this in there. This might not work 100% correct, but I'm going to work with what I got. I've been working with Python for a few years at this point, but I'd still say I have some problems. Now I'll just add this. I don't think there really any need for any like dunder methods right now, because I don't need like a string. You won't really be printing this. This will just be a class being called by another class to do some things. So let me do the. I think I deleted that for some reason. I do that a lot. Deleted my if name main block for testing. So we'll do some test cases here. Right. Let's roll. So imagine you're like, oh, I'm rolling a d20 with a +5 to attack. So we'll do dice roller, roll d4, self, and then say +6. This also would work for like the minus modifiers, because sometimes you have like your disadvantage. Let's do -2. Let's just see. What is it yelling at me about? Oh, that's why. Excuse me. We all make mistakes. Because if you don't know that when you call a class, if you're just trying to do it without instantiating it with a variable, if you don't have the parentheses that are calling it, it won't be able to return self to the function that you're calling. You'll be able to access it and see the functions that are within it, but it just won't work properly. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to add, see, this is where self.disadvantage equals false. So what this is going to do is like the advantage disadvantage within D&D. If you play, you understand that if you have advantage for a dice roll, you roll 2 dice and return the higher one. And if you have disadvantage, you roll 2 dice, you take the lower one. So I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually remodify these. I'm going to change these around. So we'll say dice 1 equals r.rand int 1 4. Dice 2 equals r.rand int 1 4. If self.advantage, because it's just it's a true or false, so I don't have to say if self.advantage is equal to true or self.advantage equal to false. You're saying if true, return dice 1 if dice 1 greater than dice 2 else dice 2. I like these. I'm a big fan of these one-line if statements. I think they're even though I've been working with this for a few years, I just started working with them recently, and they're very nice. I'll say plus mod. this might yell at me for redundant parentheses, but I want to put that there to show that, like, this is how it's going to work. Like, saying, oh, this gets added to that, not... I don't want it to be confusing at all. So we'll do the same thing now. Oh yeah, so now if self.disadvantage return dice1 plus mod if dice1 is less than dice2 else dice2 plus mod. Now else, let's just say we return, let's just assume that dice1's the default. Dice, let me add some comments here. Return dice1 if the value is larger and advantage. Put this more into like actual language here. Return larger of 2 values from dice. Return smaller of 2 values from dice. And else just meaning neither both advantage and disadvantage are false. Return dice1 plus mod. Because remember, this was dice1 is the default dice here. So say here return default dice given that advantage and disadvantage are both false. So now what I will do here is, reformat this so my PyCharm stops yelling at me. Now I'm going to do this for all. First off, I'm going to do the reformatting thing. Do this. Now this will be 6. This will be 8. This will be 10. 12, 12, 20. In retrospect, I just realized that made this modifier function. So I'm just gonna, I actually need it, so I'm just gonna delete it. And I'll just say, right now I'll just make it so self modifier. So I'm going to refactor this a little bit so that it'll be, instead of just passing the modifier in, just call it and then do self.mod. Actually, so I'll do a little mod. I'm going to get rid of this real quick so it doesn't get, so everything here, hold up. Let me delete these real quick. Select all, move, so be self dot modifier. And now it's all yelling at me because it hasn't been created yet, but self dot modifier is equal to 0. And so now, I guess in the future, we'll just say, reformat the file. No, that's gross. Why did it do it like that? That's gross. Well, I don't really know how to turn off this self-formatting, and I wish I could. So let's say we have, I'm just going to instance, let's say D is equal to dice roller, D dot modifier is equal to, actually, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another function because I don't like actually, I don't like calling these which are are class attributes outside of the class. I think it's prettier if you use a function. So let's do get set modifier self. Mod self dot modifier is equal to mod. Shouldn't need to like get or anything. So do d.dice roller and say d.set modifier and say 5. Then we'll do d.roll 4. Let's do roll 4. Let's print this just so we can see. Look at that 9, so that means it would have rolled 4 and added 9. I think I'm going to just make this a little bit prettier. I'm going to add type hinting. Because we know it's going to return an integer. We don't want it to return anything but an integer here. I guess in terms of rolling multiple dice, I'm just thinking, so self dot. I'm debating as to how to take upon how to do like number of dice to roll, because you know you're very little chance you're just rolling one dice, especially for like damage. So self dot num dice 1, because you say 1's the default value here. Say self dot self number 2 roll number of dice self dot num dice is equal to number of dice. And so now let's say okay, let's refactor this a little bit here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to add a total variable to each of these. First off, sorry, this is going to be redundant. I'm just going to, I don't like it. I want it to be prettier. I want it to be longer. I'm sorry, I don't really want to be recording this, but I'm not going to be editing it. I'm just going to do it, post it. Who cares? If it's just, I guess, just accurate as to what goes on as a programmer, constantly like debating over what looks good and what looks weird. So I think what I'm going to end up doing, my plan is to add a total, like a counter, some variable to each of these functions. And what it's going to do is it's going to loop over the amount of dice that we have to roll, and then it'll return the total. Assuming that it's 1, it should just roll 1. So let's see. What I want to do is, let's just start at the bottom here. For I in range self dot num dice. Have that in there, and then we have a total 0. Then what we'll do is change all these terms to tot equals total put all of this here. Then I will return total. Yeah. So we're gonna do this for all of the. Actually, what I can just end up doing is copy this bottom section, and then let me. Oh shit! Whoops! Let me change some of this. The default dice given. Is I will copy this, paste it here, because it's going to be the same exact thing for every single function here. And I think that this is very cluttered right now, but it's not going to suffer performance, because unless you have like a million dice to roll through, it's not going to be bad at all. You're using like a for loop or. I could try to just thought about using like list comprehension, but I don't want to use it all the time. Did I really do the thing where I copied it and then brother, do like the self formatting? Okay, pie chart. Okay. Sorry to do that again. In theory, I think it should all work properly. I believe so. Like, I don't see any problems with this code so far. It just does all these things for me. Some good stuff here. So let's see here. Once I get this all, I think I'm gonna cut the video when I'm done with this, and then start working on the user interface. Okay, so. That is all for me. So I guess I'll stop this here and say that, this is the dice roller class, and then see you in the next one.